I don't think it's a surprise that animation has become big on YouTube in recent years, and various people have finally been given a chance to show their creative outlet, and it really is remarkable to see this change in the system and seeing people thrive with their pure creativity alone, especially in a time where animation has not been given the most respect. Whether that's the cancellation of animated TV shows that had a story to tell, but were rushed to be finished, or either never got to finish, along with the countless live action remakes that Disney produced, which I personally don't have a problem with as movies, or at least not all of them. Of course, there are some real stinkers like Pinocchio, Chip and Dale, and Mulan, but I do think that there were some good early live action remakes, like The Jungle Book, Maleficent, Alice in Wonderland, and Alice Through the Looking Glass. But that's a discussion for another time. What I'm mainly here to talk about is what I think that these shows are doing right now and how they are a shining example of what executives should be letting their creators do. And the first one I want to talk
Now, for those of you who don't know, Helluva Boss is an ongoing animated web series created by VivziePop, who is a channel that uploads the episodes. It is currently in its second season, with episode 4 of season 2 coming very soon. The series is a spin-off of another VivziePop creation called Hazbin Hotel. Both shows take place in the same universe of Hell. Hazbin Hotel is set to release sometime in 2023, but in the meantime, Helluva Boss was made to explore the world of Hell before we sink our teeth into the main series. But for now, the show of Helluva Boss revolves around the main cast of characters, Moxie, Millie, Blitz, Stolas, and Luna, and it's kind of a mix of character-driven and plot-driven centric episodes, whether that's dealing with the relationship between Blitz and Stolas as seen in episode 7 of season 1, where Blitz and Stolas have a falling out after getting called out at a club, or when in the first episode of season 2 shows the relationship between Blitz and Stolas as kids. There are also some other episodes that focus on other characters, like Millie and Moxie in season 2, episode 3, where we find out that Moxie is the son of a mafia boss who wants to get more money for his family, so he tries to marry off Moxie to a guy that Moxie hates, who turns out to be dirt poor. Despite the emotional beat between Millie and Moxie feeling a little misplaced in the moment, it nonetheless showed the connection that these two have, and it shows how much Moxie does love Millie to the point where he's radio silent about his own past and family in order to protect her from what happened and all the horrifying shit that happened when he was younger. Along with episode 2 of season 2, where the Imp crew need to find Octavia, who is a daughter of Stolas. And despite the fact that she was the product of a loveless marriage, her dad does love her very much, but is too busy fighting with his wife to pay any attention to her. And it ends up with him forgetting an important day to go see a meteor shower. And as an episode dealing with the relationship between Octavia and Luna, it's pretty good, and it shows that they have a lot more in common than most people would think. But as an episode that directly comes after the falling out of Blitz and Stolas, it's inconsistent and breaks any tension that the two had during the past 2 episodes. And although they don't outright say it, it's implied that Stolas losing her daughter is enough for him to forget the tension that him and Blitz had, when that really shouldn't logically happen at all.
Let's go find our daughters.
We could.
I'm not fucking you tonight, okay? I'm really not in the mood.
But despite the show at times being bloody and funny for the sake of being bloody and funny, it's moments like those that make me appreciate what the show is able to do for animation on the internet as a whole, for better or for worse. Whether that be the inconsistent character moments with Luna, setting up more plot points but never really finishing any of them, or including characters that were not really needed in a specific episode in order for the story to work. If you want a video breaking down all stuff like that, you should go watch Just Stop's video on it. But overall, I don't hate the show if that's what you think I'm implying. I think it's a well-made and well-written show, and it is the first of its kind when it comes to YouTube web animation. It just suffers the same issues as any regular show, animated or not. But I do think that Season 2, Episode 3 did do a good thing by not jumping back into the Stolas and Blitz thing, and with the next episode focusing on Blitz and Luna, and possibly bringing up Luna's original family. Maybe if they bring back Blitz's flashback from Season 2, Episode 2, it would be a great way to tie up some loose ends for Luna, at least in that part of her story. And if they do end up adding some Stolas stuff, I think that they should do it in either small bits, or they should just completely follow up on the fallout that they had at the end of Season 1. Okay, so I'm trying to keep this part brief because I really didn't mean for the Helluva Boss section of the video to get that long, since I want this to be a video I can make in one day. But if you want a more clear, in-depth discussion of Murder Drones, you should go watch Cartoon Universe's breakdowns of each episode, along with Rem Games if you want to learn more about the lore of the show. He does some great videos on it. But without further ado, let's discuss Murder Drones. So if you don't know, Murder Drones is an original animated web series created by Glitch Productions in partnership with Liam Vickers, a very popular animator on YouTube. And after the channel Glitch came fresh off the heels of creating Sunset Paradise and Men Runner, which are shows that take characters from their home channel SMG4 and put them into their own animated series. One that takes place in a completely different universe, and another that is canon to the universe of the main channel. Glitch announced a brand new series with a darker atmosphere in a world where people need to mine resources from a different planet to save their own dying one. But in one natural disaster, all humans that were keeping maintenance on this exoplanet die, and the worker drones that were helping them are left alone. And so no one's surprised, they become sentient. As the humans on Earth fear a robot uprising, they send disassembly drones to deal with the problem. A drone named Uzi, who wants to destroy all humans for sending the disassembly drones after them, ends up finding out this is going to be harder than she thought, because the disassembly drones are very good at their job. Not only that, but the fact that they can pass on this virus called the Absolute Solver, that basically turns you into a robot vampire, with all the hallmarks of one too. You need to drink oil, eat other drones just to live so you don't die from overheating. But it's not all bad, because you do gain some form of psychokinesis and gain the ability to manipulate non-living matter into living matter. And you also gain the ability to self-heal to the point where destroying the head isn't only a scratch. And so Uzi ends up befriending a disassembly drone named N, who, I kid you not, became good because he did not know what the company that made him was going to do after they killed all the drones on the exoplanet. Which I don't think is bad. I think it's a good enough reason for him to turn good. And I love that even after Uzi saves N from dying, she's still reluctant to trust him in later episodes because he's a violent killing machine that can turn or be controlled at any moment. Just small stuff like that adds gravity to the situation. Overall, the show has an entertaining premise that keeps me wanting to explore more of the world and what it has to offer. And it's really a treat to watch on screen. This show is such a product of its time, I would go as far as to say that it's better than Hell of a Boss in some aspects. And it's all the more concerning that each piece of the puzzle she finds will lead her to an answer that she doesn't want, along with the fact that she has to kill people in order to live, and there seems to be no way to reverse this. And it's much more harder on her because she has to deal with the fact that she was once a worker drone, and she will eventually turn on all of the other worker drones. So to be frank, Murder Drones is a great animated series with a dark atmosphere that is bound to have some twists and turns as the series progresses. I encourage you to check it out if you haven't. It's always good to have more discussion over shows like this, since it was the first to give Liam Vickers his first major creative outlet, and this is a great introduction to his work. It really is amazing to see animated works like these thrive on YouTube, especially with the end of the Owl House and Amphibia getting cut short by Disney, along with their persistence on making loads of live-action content in general, whether that's through Marvel, or their own live-action remakes, or their TV sitcoms. But it's not all bad news though. Just recently, the new Unicorn Warriors Eternal just released its first episode on YouTube, and it almost has 500,000 views. And coming off of the heels of Primal, I thought this was going to be a bit more grittier, but I was surprised by how tame it was. But only time will tell how long that will stay. By the way, I'm glad with what we got. Not only that, there's another animated series that recently got a second episode called Monkey Wrench. It's a neat little web series, which honestly, I never knew came from the internet. You might think it's an adult animated swim show. But it's a little cute 2-episode series about a pair of bounty hunters that are just scrapping by. It's animated beautifully and has a wonderful atmosphere. Well, those are my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. Do you think it's awesome that animated series on YouTube are becoming more popular and are letting creators have a voice in animation? Or do you think it's going to lead to more corporations? Most importantly, do you think Hell of a Boss and Murder Drones are good shows? If they are good shows to you, what do you like about them? And what would you change?